Hello everyone, this is Bethlehem Attfield. Welcome to the podcast Genete Ethiopia with a Story. Heaven Without Prickly Pears by Mulugeta Alebachew, Part 2. Before everything wears off its charm, before our lives were deprived of their glamour, my neighborhood was so beautiful. Although the stones did not turn into manna, and the rivers did not provide fountains of milk and honey, my village was still heavenly before its charm wore off with the depravity of our modern community. Our childhood songs still echo in my ears as if it were just yesterday. I can conjure the memory of the nursery rhymes that we sang along with my childhood friends. Let's go to the woods, let's go to the woods, before the hyena arrives. Mr. Hyena, are you there? Abu hey, have you seen my maid? My maid prayed to Mary, carrying a stool to Abolite, passed it on to a neighbor. O moon, provider of bread, give us some bread. Miss Star, go collect it for us. Many a time, because I was able to separate between the hardly distinguishable twins, Ephraim and Manasseh, I managed to trick the baffled defensive players and scored the winning goal. The victory songs we sang, raising a trophy made of flattened bottle caps, Irrevocable Lameda, Grafno Berasumeda, is sealed in my memory to be evoked at will. Although my temperate village has a special scent, every home has also its own aroma. One day, I spent the night at my neighbor Hoete's place, enchanted with the beauty of the guinea fowl her dad brought from Mulugeta. "Oh, Bayush, your son slept with a bird," they said to my mum. The blanket they gave me that night was black with white polka dots like the guinea fowl. It smelled of Ethiopian cardamom and cumin, the very same spices that they used to cook the guinea fowl stew and the nitergebe. Lavender-fragrant girls covered with hijab to hide their beauty from the likes of us stinking kids were on their way to mosque. It felt like they were not born of mere mortals, but delicately made of honey and spices, muscal daisies wrapped with black silk abayas, Arab-like virgins brought up drinking Haud and Kauthar, the Quranic lake and pool of abundance. We used to be mesmerized with the magical smell of girls who come every Tuesday from the countryside for the weekly market. We did not drop just our jaws, our nostrils were wide open too. The strong Wanadaga wind picks up samples of scents and delicately spreads it around Genete. This essence is made of banana leaves that have been used to bake bread, wafts exuding from armpits of damsels, childhood songs dubbed with frankincense, ripe yellow plum, herbs tucked behind maidens' ears, and the honey extracted from their lips. We breathe in this combined aroma, and if you stick out your tongue, you sure can get a taste of Genete. I would never forget this scent, a scent of a town I have inhaled my entire life, a scent that has been carried along my lung, heart, and veins. The day I forget is the day I die. The season Hohet, our next-door's neighbor's daughter, turned ripe and beautiful, I slept with her in a cheap hotel behind Muda's butchery, on a rickety, short bed. The smell of sex that clung to the smooth sheets and her incredible beauty are forever etched in my memory. Baharuk Agne's song slowly entered the room through the crack under the door, mixed with a glimmer of outdoor light. Tripe and liver sure are delicacies. What is unsavory is the tongue. When we were kids, she used to get her nipples bitten by an insect in the hope of getting them bigger. So she knew I used to be freaked out by the sight of them. Taking off her clothes, she buried me between them. Uneasiness forgotten, I sucked on her nipples like I was a child. Not only did I get rid of my fear, but I also got addicted to them. Are all girls who grew up eating partridge and guinea fowl this delicious? On that same day, I broke my piggy box and bought her a red bra. Later, I told Ephraim about it. You better keep nibbling on your barley bread. How would you even get close to her lips? I swear to you, Effie, I'm pretty serious. Just shut up. She would never do it with Anamara, just with us. Baharuk Anye has said it all. A sharp tongue is sure unsavory. My dearest friend has affronted my heart with his tongue. I'd like to forget what he said. I pretend like I had done that. I dug a hole in a certain corner of my mind and buried it with other bitter memories that I'd like to consign to oblivion. I have an aunt called Harek, my uncle's wife, who lives near the myrrh tree that has survived the old green Genete. I have frequented paying a visit to her because I took a liking to her neighbor, a girl called Zabiba. She flirtatiously teased me with her eyes. I stood up and followed her like a disciple chosen by Jesus. She opened the door for me. I entered and I noticed that her hair was no more covered. A Queen of Sheba look-alike. I was flabbergasted. I found myself feeling weak. There were many mattresses in the living room. A carpet with an image of peacock was right in the middle of the room. My mouth was dry. She had so many clothes on like an onion. She kept on taking them off layer after layer, but it took forever. When there remained just her white underwear, I got up with excitement and carried her to one of the mattresses. She was laughing and punching my back with soft fists while she said,
Wallahi, that's enough.
Soft silk brushing against my shoulder. I placed her on the mattress delicately, like she was a fragile object. I watched with half-closed eyes as my shallow breath made her baby hair on the back of her neck move. When she straddled on top of me and started grinding, she did not look like she had 206 bones in her body. No wonder this onion-like girl seems to lack bones. Pretty symbolic. If I had come inside her and she became pregnant, she would give birth to a half-caste baby. The people in this town come from all over the country. Thus, the women mostly give birth to cross-ethnic breeds. There were people from Gojam. There were people from Gondar, Agao. They're all human beings. No one ever asked where Keja Gunde, carpenter from Konso, was originally from. He lives here, married with kids. No one ever asked him why he was a Protestant. The skillfully built ceilings and all the wooden furniture he made were all inimitable, and his wife was unrivaled in knitting and basket making. The beauty of my home were the Konso. Trungo Banda came from the west. She's dark but beautiful. No one knows when exactly she came, and no one ever asks. She has an ebony dark brother named Alamne living with her. While he cleans shoes, she washes clothes by the sides of the waterway that run down from St. Gabriel. Rumor has it that she has a tailless civet that carries all the clothes she washed. All the village blankets she washed were fluffy and smelled like a body of a girl who had just burned frankincense. And Alamne is a listro who never brushed shoes carelessly. He never stopped till the shoes reflected his image as if it were mirror. My sanitation were the Noors. Fresh salt mined from Afdara and Asale lakes in the east were brought to me with chains of camels. A man who slings his knife on his side comes following the caravan path, leaving behind the smoking mountain, and bargains each Tuesday on his commodity, putting to rest his camel that traveled for weeks carrying bars of salt. The secret to my tasty meals were the afa. When I went to the nearest pharmacy to buy eye drops for my mother, Gabisa, the cashier, rose to take the money from me, and when he counted the bills, I unconsciously did the same. Tokolama sedi afor shan. My remedies were the oromos, but my soul was inconsiderate, bruised by immature friends' teasing, betrayed its sailors. Each morning when I go out to Madame Kokobe's place to buy my breakfast, I'd encounter an incident that never changes. Peppermint plant flourished beneath the tap near their door. An old woman named Genete sitting and separating dirt from the wheat. A pile of chaff she has put aside, sprinkled all over the floor as if it was spread for the chicken. Besides her was a kettle on the Fernello, exhaling steam through its spout. Had we opened and beheld into my childhood stomach, there would be Madame Cocobi's manna-like bread soaked in peppermint spiced tea. It was at her place that I tasted for the first time and fell in love with the hello sauce that displays an abstract culinary expertise. My nourishment were the Tigres. Those who named my dearest friend Bazape an outsider, do they know that we have passed bowls of hello to each other and scored goals in one another's mouth? My fingerprints had gone into his gut, imprinted in the soft morsel I fed him, and his fingerprints were laid on the floor of my tummy. Have they deliberately forgotten that? When a relative of my friend Mereta, a woman whom everyone referred to as Mazenge, was deported and gave away her house and her belongings for free, crying buckets as a farewell to her beloved neighbors, whom she considered better than her own relatives, a bitter memory rises like a bile into my throat, which I swallow back. Then it seeps into the cracks of my broken heart. Before our worries multiplied, before everything went bad, and before I sat on the roadside and indifferently watched everything in this neighborhood, we arranged marriages for girls and boys of the village. Even Gashayelesgot had taken part. When Howlett and Merita got married, the container they used to collect money was sealed with a goatskin from this god we all called the mayor. But today I sit underneath the shade of the ulaga tree. My unfortunate nostrils inhale the stench the crazy wind gathered from here and there. These days, the ungracious wind carries wafts of betrayals we have callously inflicted on our neighbors and sprinkles it on our nose. The other scent that comes from each home is that of excessive desire for money. I cover my nose with my hands to get away from this stench and continue to reflect on my memories, big and small, significant and insignificant. A pregnant Ohata, now married to a bigot her father picked for her, passes by. Her father's rationale was, the man is a fellow Oromo. May peace be unto you, beautiful. May peace be unto those gorgeous melons, my fine-looking lady. Zebiba is getting ready to be married before the Christian fasting season ends. Will she remember the promise she made under the full moon? The promise she made with her lips that looked like braided red silk? That, wallahi, I'm gonna marry you. I had asked her the meaning of the prayer written in gold on a dark background that was hanging in their living room, and she had told me with her sweet lips, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Was this prayer of her ever answered? Forget the marrying of interreligious or interethnic couples these days, like innumerous couples had done in the past. People have now forgotten co-organizing weddings for the children they brought up. They have forgotten all that, and now they hold their weddings when it is fasting time for the others. Like the deceitful deaf who turned his face when the rather suspecting doctor dropped a penny on the floor and proved his healthy condition of his ears, we have turned out to be excellent deaf, who only could listen to the clanking of coins. Saraka, who always invited me to his studio whenever he paints a new one, called and showed me a bizarre drawing. St. George was portrayed as a member of the chosen race, like the one they painted in Nazi times. Unconsciously, I uttered 5 words aloud. Have you gone insane, brother? I learned later that he painted it for a scanty amount of money. We drifted apart. In this land of yours, in this country of mine, where Ras Guksa said, you all are free to practice the creed of your choice, and declared liberty even before anyone had ever given empty hopes of democracy in the name of a constitution? How dare you do this? Who is picking all the major memories and making us forget all the things we should never let go? We destroyed our footsteps like a fugitive who tries to remain in hiding, and it is when we fenced ourselves with our holy books and kept the events of our matrimony from friends of our childhood to avoid their attendance that we lost dunya, our earthly concerns, and that akhirah, the thereafter, slipped off our hands as well. Have we become like beasts that only look for their kind? I was left without a haven to escape from everything, and hence I plead time to hide me. I stroll back on memory lane and ponder on memories sweet as honeycomb. When this lane ends and brings me back to today, I suddenly got awakened. And in every 60 seconds, in every 24 hours, in every 7 days, in every 13 months, I inquire without anyone giving me an answer. Who here carelessly says man is better than animals? My daily prayer that I repeat to myself is now the Holy Quran verses I learned from Zabiba. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. May you guide us to the straight path. May you guide us to the straight path. May you guide us to the straight path.
Thank you for listening. Please read the discussion points under the description of this episode. We would like to hear your views on these points and any other observation you may have. If you'd like to listen to more stories as soon as they are released, please subscribe to this channel. Until the next story, goodbye.